The Art of War by Sun Tzu. This is a very fantastic book that has been rewrote, retranslated thousands and thousands of times. This book is on the top reading list for some of the generals in the U.S. military, including some famous ones like Douglas MacArthur, who led the Pacific Campaign against the Japanese in World War II. So let's start this reading. I'd like to once again remind that what I'm about to read is not mine. It was written by Sun Tzu. And I hope that from this reading you will learn something from this. Alright. Planning. Understanding the nature of war is of vital importance to the state. War is the place where life and death meet. It is the road to destruction or survival. It demands study. War has 5 decisive factors, which you must take into account in your planning. You must fully understand their relevance. First is a moral compass. Second is heaven. Third is earth. Fourth is the commander. Fifth is regulation. The general must be possessed of wisdom, benevolence, courage, and discipline. A moral compass brings the people into accord with their ruler so that they will follow him in life and in death without fear. Heaven encompasses night and day, heat and cold, and the changing of seasons. Earth encompasses nearness and distance, ease and hindrance, wide plains and narrow gorges, matters of life or death. The general must be possessed of wisdom, honesty, benevolence, courage, and discipline. Regulation means the marshaling of the army, correct organization, and control of supplies. A general must pay attention to all 5, for they represent the difference between victory and defeat. So you must study them when laying your plans and thoroughly understand their relevance. By this I mean you should consider which ruler has a moral compass, which general has ability, which side is best favored by climate and terrain, where is leadership most effective, which army is strongest, whose officers and men are best trained, who best understands the use of reward and punishment. The answers to these questions tell me who will succeed and who will be defeated. You should retain those of your generals who heed this advice, for they will be victorious. You should dismiss those who do not, for they will be defeated. When planning victory according to my counsel, act according to the situation and make use of external factors. To set according to the situation is to seize the advantage by adapting to one's plans. Successful war follows the path of deception. Thus, when you are able to act, feign incapacity. When deploying, feign inactivity. When you are close, appear to be far off. When you are distant, appear to be close. When your enemy seeks an advantage, lure him further. If he is in disorder, crush him. If he is disorganized... No, if he is organized, my bad. If he is organized, be ready for him. When he is strong, avoid him. When he is angry, goad him further. If he is humble, be overbearing. If he is resting, harry him. If his armies are united, split them. Attack where he is unprepared. Appear where you are least expected. Thus you may see that in war, surprise is the key to victory. A victorious leader plans for many eventualities before the battle. A defeated leader plans for only a few. Many options bring victory. Few options bring defeat. No options at all spell disaster. It is by using all of these considerations that I can foresee who will be victorious and who will be defeated. Waging war. As for military operations, let us consider an army of 1,000 attack chariots, 1,000 heavy chariots, and 100,000 armored troops, all provisioned for a campaign of 10,000 li, allowing for expenses at headquarters and the front, the entertainment of allies and guests, the cost of glue and lacquer for maintenance, and the manufacture of chariots and armor. An army of 10,000 men will require a daily expenditure of 10,000 jin. Jin means precious metal. In waging war, victory is the prize, but if delayed, both troops and weapons are blunted. Besieging a city exhausts your strength. A protracted campaign depletes your state's resources. With your soldiers and weapons dull, strength and resources spent, your rivals will seize their chance and rise up against you. Then, no matter how wise you are, you can turn nothing to your advantage. Thus, although I have heard of reckless haste in war, I have never seen wise delay, nor has any state benefited from prolonged war. Only someone who understands the perils of waging war can also understand the best way of conducting it. A skilled general levies his troops only once and transports provisions from home only twice. He brings equipment from home but forages for food from the enemy. This is how he keeps his troops fed. This is how he keeps his troops fed. Provisioning an army at a distance is a sure way of emptying the state exchequer and beggaring the populace. Prices are inflated by the presence of an army, and inflation swallows up the people's money, so that tolls and taxes become oppressive. With strength sapped and wealth depleted, households are stripped bare and the people will lose 70% of their income. As for public finances, broken chariots and broken down horses, restocking of weapons, shields, and armor, draught oxen, and transport wagons, all of these will account for 60% of the exchequer. It is for these reasons that a wise general forages food from the enemy. 1 zong of the enemy's food is worth 20 zong of your own. A zong is a unit of volume, approximately equivalent to 40 liters. 1 dan of the enemy's supplies is worth 20 dan of your own. A dan. And the dan, a unit of weight, approximately equivalent to 50 kilograms. For your soldiers, anger must be the spur to killing the enemy, and reward must be the stimulus to defeating them. Thus, in a chariot battle, if 10 chariots or more are taken, then reward the soldiers who captured the first one. Change the flags and standards on the captured chariots, and add them to your own squadrons. Treat the captured soldiers well, and look after them. This is the tactic of using the defeated enemy to increase your strength. So you can now see that in war, it is winning alone that matters, and there is no merit in prolonging a campaign. A general who truly understands warfare controls the people's fate. He is the master of the state's security. Strategic offense. In considering the complete art of war, it is greatly preferable to capture a state whole rather than break it up. It is better to capture an army whole rather than break it up. It is better to capture a regiment whole than break it up. It is better to capture a battalion whole than break it up. It is better to capture a company whole than break it up. Using this principle, you can understand that winning 100 victories out of 100 battles is not the ultimate achievement. The ultimate achievement is to defeat the enemy without even coming to battle. Thus, it follows that the highest form of warfare is to outthink the enemy. Next is to break his alliances, then to defeat his armies in battle. The lowest form is to besiege his cities. Siege warfare should only be undertaken if it is unavoidable. The time involved is too costly. It takes up to 3 months to construct the various movable shelters, transports, and other siege engines. It takes 3 months to raise earthworks against the walls. If a general loses patience and sends his men swarming like ants around the city, it will cost him 1/3 of his army with no result. These are the disastrous pitfalls of a siege. Thus, a skillful general must defeat the enemy without coming to battle, take his cities without a siege, and overthrow his state without a long campaign. He must make every effort under heaven to achieve total victory with his forces undiminished. This is the art of strategic offense. Thus, when deploying your troops, if you outnumber the enemy 10 to 1, surround him. 5 to 1, attack him. 2 to 1, split him. If forces are equal, engage him in open battle. If you turn in slightly outnumbered, evade his advances. If you are heavily outnumbered, withdraw completely. A smaller force, no matter how determined, will always succumb to a larger one. The army's commander is the mainstay of the state. If his support is solid, the state will be strong. If his support is flawed, the state will be weak. Indeed, there are 3 ways a ruler can bring disaster on his army. He may hobble the army by ordering advance or retreat at the wrong time without understanding it. He may confuse his troops by interfering with military organization without understanding it. He may dishearten his troops by meddling with rank and responsibility without regard to consequences. If they see the army confused and discomforted, the lesser lords and princes will take advantage and begin to cause trouble. This is called spurning victory by disrupting the army. There are 5 keys to victory. Knowing when to fight and when not to brings victory. Knowing what to do both when superior in numbers and when outnumbered brings victory. Holding officers and men united in purpose brings victory. Careful preparation to catch the enemy unprepared brings victory. Holding officers and... Oh, no, I already read that part, my bad. Careful preparation to catch the enemy unprepared brings victory. A skillful general, given free rein by the ruler, brings victory. These 5 are the true path to success. Thus we may say that if you know yourself and know your enemy, you will gain victory 100 times out of 100. If you know yourself, but do not know your enemy, you will meet defeat for every victory. If you know neither yourself nor your enemy, you will never be victorious. Deployment. The great generals of old first ensured that they themselves were beyond defeat and then waited for the enemy to make themselves vulnerable. Thus we can say that although you have it in your own hands to place yourself beyond defeat, you cannot of yourself bring about the defeat of the enemy. Whilst you are unsure of victory, defend. When you are sure of victory, attack. Defense should indicate that you are not in a position to defeat the enemy. Attack, that you are even stronger than you need to be. A skilled defender digs himself in deeper than the 9th level of the earth. A skilled attacker falls on the enemy from above the 9th level of heaven. In this way you can both protect yourself completely and ensure total victory. The ultimate level of heaven in Buddhist mythologies is the 9th level of heaven. Only to see victory when it is already clear to all is by no means the height of excellence. A victory that is acclaimed by all and sundry is by no means the greatest of victories. It takes no great strength to lift a feather. You don't need keen eyesight to see the sun, nor keen ears to hear thunder. The great warriors of old not only won victories, but won them with ease, because their victories were achieved without apparent difficulty. They did not bring them great fame for their wisdom, or respect, or their courage. Being prepared for all circumstances is what ensures certain victory, for it means that you are fighting an enemy who is already beaten. Thus, a great soldier first places himself in an invincible position, and then ensures he does not miss the crucial opportunity to defeat the enemy. A successful army first ensures invincibility, and only then engages the enemy. A vanquished army will have gone into battle first, and only then looked for the means of victory. A great strategist follows his moral compass and adheres to the methods of regulation, for these are the means by which he determines victory or defeat. In the art of war, first comes scoping, then measurement, then calculation. then balancing, and finally victory. The earth is the basis for scoping, scoping the basis for measurement, measurement the basis for calculation, calculation the basis for balancing, the balancing the basis for victory. The victorious army is just as a yi is to a shu, and a defeated army is a shu to an he. A victorious army carries all the weight of the flood water plunging into a 1,000-foot gorge. It is believed that yi and shi are units of weight. To hold an entire army unbroken in the face of an enemy attack is achieved by both my bad, let me restart that. To hold an entire army unbroken in the face of an enemy attack is achieved by use of both the oblique and the direct. The principles of control for a large force are the same as for a small one. The essential factor is how they are divided up. Deploying a large army in battle is just like deploying a small one. It is a matter of formation and communication. To hold an entire army unbroken in the face of an enemy attack is achieved by use of both the oblique and the direct. To make the force of your army's attack like a grindstone crushing an egg, you must master the substantial and insubstantial. It's not done, I just need to update you guys on this. Hold on. Dang it, come on. I know you guys would get bored with just face cam of me reading this, so instead of that, there we go. Alright, let's continue. In all kinds of warfare, the direct approach is used for attack, but the oblique is what achieves victory. A general who understands the use of the oblique has a source of tactics as inexhaustible as heaven and earth, which, like the rivers and the oceans, will never run dry. Like the sun and the moon, they diminish and they replenish. They constantly renew themselves, like the cycle of the 4 seasons. There are only 5 basic notes in music, but their variations are infinite. There are only 5 primary colors, but when blended their shades and hues are limitless. There are only 5 principal tastes, but their combinations produce more flavor than can ever be tasted. In military strategy there is only the direct and the oblique, but between them they offer an inexhaustible range of tactics. The direct and the oblique lead naturally one into the other, like an ever-turning wheel, so who can ever exhaust their resource? The surge of rolling flood water washes away boulders. This is called momentum. The swoop of a falcon strikes and kills its prey. This is called timing. Thus, for a skilled warrior, his momentum must be irresistible and his timing precise. Where was I? And his timing precise. Momentum is the tension in a crossbow arm. Timing is the pulling of the trigger. In the rolling turmoil of battle, your troops may appear in the chaos, but in fact cannot be disordered. In tumult and confusion, your dispositions may seem formless, but in fact remain invincible. In this way, apparent confusion masks true organization. Cowardice masks courage. Weakness masks strength. Confusion and organization are a matter of deployment. Courage are a matter of momentum. Strength and weaknesses are a matter of formation. A general skilled in the outmaneuvering the enemy uses formation to make them follow him. He offers a sacrifice to make them snatch at it. He lays bait to tempt them, and sets his troops to an ambush to wait for them. That was pretty awesome. That was The Art of War by Sun Shi. This book is over 2,500 years old, but it still holds knowledge that we still hold true today. But like I was saying, it still holds knowledge that we can find useful today. If you haven't picked up a copy of this book, I would highly suggest that you do, so that way you can read the rest of it. This book will change your life. It changed mine. This book does not just exclusively focus on war. It focuses on all aspects of life. This book is just magnificent. This book is what will change your life, for better or for worse, but it will change your life. With that, I'm Keller, and this has been The Art of War.